Hello, everyone. It's the end of a decade, and a lot has happened in the 2010s. Me personally, I went from being a person who graduated high school, going on to college, dreaming of becoming a filmmaker, and I actually did become a filmmaker. I am a filmmaker. I've made several short films, nothing major yet. And then I decided to make this YouTube channel. A lot has happened in the world, in the country, in cinema this decade. And I just want to bring a list of my favorite films from the 2010s. This will not be a ranking. This will just be a list going through my favorite films from the decade. And film is a great thing. My life is film. I love film. And I don't know where I would be without it. You know, it's there for the great times, it's there for the bad times. Film is an escape from life, and it has different purposes for each and every one of us. Different films offer us different things, insights in our life. So I'm going to share my favorite films of the 2010s. Everyone down there in the comments watching, feel free to submit your favorite 2010 films from the decade, going from 2010 to 2019. Share your favorites. I love to read them. Starting with the first film is Inception. Inception was a great film directed by Christopher Nolan. He did this right after Dark Knight, and of course it deals with dreams. I love the visual effects. Ellen Page, Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Tom Hardy. The cast is phenomenal. Michael Caine. And I love the whole thing about mind heist, dreams within a dream. Who could forget the Hans Zimmer score? Oh, that track of time is amazing. And that ending just left you just like blown away. It's like, was he dreaming? Is it real? It left people wondering. I think it's a simple story, but it could have multiple interpretations. I love Inception. When that film ended, I was like, I'm ready for Dark Knight 3. Christopher Nolan proves once again that he's a masterclass storyteller and filmmaker, and Inception, still, after a decade, is one of my favorite films of the 2010s. Next is Tron Legacy. I love this. This is my favorite live-action Disney film of the decade. A sequel, before they started having like sequel requels and everything, you know, this kind of did the whole Star Wars thing before Star Wars, but I love the redesign of Tron. You know, Jonathan Krasinski's first film. I love the style of this. Daft Punk's score is incredible, man. It was even used on car commercials after this. Olivia Wilde as Cora. Jeff Bridges is awesome as Flynn. He's pretty much the dude from Big Lebowski, but what I love more than his role in Flynn is Clue. Clue is just awesome. End of line, man. I love that. Between the action story, I just love this movie. It has an emotional ending that really leaves a lot open for the future of Tron. I'm still mad, Disney. You made all these Star Wars and you made a Maleficent 2. You should make a Tron 3. Make Tron 3 now. After that is The Expendables. I love the original Expendables. All three films are great, but what I love about the first one is how low budget it was. A select number of people. Real effects, Sylvester Stallone directing, just a balls-to-the-wall action film. Who could forget that one scene in the church with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis? Oh, I love this film. If you're a man, watch The Expendables. After that is Shutter Island. This is a very different Martin Scorsese film. Leonardo DiCaprio gives a great performance. You have Mark Ruffalo. This had a mind F of an ending. The twist at the end was just shocking. I love this. I love mysteries. People having to solve things, but also that whole revelation, and then Leonardo DiCaprio's acceptance of that. Yeah, he just doesn't have luck with women or just wives. Between Inception and Shutter Island. After that is Insidious. Insidious is a great horror film. I love how they pulled the poltergeist trope of like the house being haunted, but you find out it's the person that's haunted, not the house, and that was something very different. James Wan really shows you how great of a horror film director he is. This is one of the few PG-13 movies that scares me. I love Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne in this, Lynn Shay. Man, Insidious 1 is probably one of the most terrifying movies and one of my favorite horror films of the decade. After that is Toy Story 3. This should have been the ending. They should have left it alone here. I love this. This is a perfect ending. Not only that, after everything that happened, the last scene with the cloud formation is the same formation that was on Andy's wall in the first Toy Story. But this film made me cry. Not at the theater. I held it in. I got home, lip quivering. I cried my ass off. I cried. Yeah. Those born 1991, 1992, those who remember seeing Toy Story in theaters, you're the only ones out there who know about Toy Story 3. You understand how deep it gets to, you know. Other people find it emotional. Other people didn't like it who liked 2, who grew up with 2. Guess what? If you're Andy's age at the time of this film, when it came out, you feel it. After that is Kick-Ass, a very original comic book film, and rated R as well. I love Nicolas Cage's Big Daddy. You have that freaking 28 Days Later soundtrack on there. Red Mist. Yeah, and then Hit Girl, Chloe Grace Moretz, man. It's such a crazy relationship with her and her father. That scene where she gets shot took me off guard, but overall, it was an ultra-violent comic book type movie, and I just loved it. It was pretty much like, what if superheroes existed in the real world? You know, you had Watchmen. This did it a bit more seriously, a bit more of like a comedy. And let's be honest, this is probably what it would really be like if people did try to be superheroes in our world. After that is Scream 4. Wes Craven's last film. I can't think of a better film to go out on. May he rest in peace. I miss Wes Craven, but I love Emma Roberts as the villain in this. She's great. I love seeing the return of Nev Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox. The violence in this is more heavy, and it's a commentary on remakes. And that was something very much ahead of the curve with this decade. And I love it. I love it. This feels more in vein of like the first Scream, and probably is my favorite sequel out of the Scream series. After that is A King's Speech. This is a great film. Jeffrey Rush, Colin Firth, he won Best Actor, and deservedly so. I love the story of this king, him assuming responsibility as the king, but also him dealing with the condition of stuttering and having to overcome that. And that part where he listens to his voice in the record player, him talk without stuttering the first time, forming complete sentences, just made me feel so emotional, and seeing his reaction to that was just great. Tour de force film. After that is probably my favorite film of the decade, and that's Drive. Yes, real human being and a real hero. I love it. Every time I drive at night, I listen to Night Call by Kavinsky. I love Ryan Gosling in this. He's great. What's her name? Carey Mulligan is great as well. This film is a wonderful film by Nicholas Winding Refn. Albert Brooks is a villain. Bryan Cranston, Ron Perlman. This film is just an awesome film from beginning to end. It's just the epitome of cool, and I love this film. Drive is just awesome. After that is The Lincoln Lawyer. I actually like The Lincoln Lawyer with Matthew McConaughey. All right. Here I am driving a Lincoln. But anyway, it's a good story. Like, he is a lawyer. He does kind of shady deals. He has connections, but he found out that early in his career, he might have put an innocent man in prison. And he has to live with that. Something from his past comes back, and Ryan Phillippe plays such a jerk in this. He's evil. And I love the confrontation Ryan Phillippe, Francis Fisher, and Matthew McConaughey have in this film of him finding out that somebody else committed this crime that he thought another person did. And not only that, he has to defend this person and basically prove he's innocent when he's not. That's just intense. After that is The Beaver. I love The Beaver. Jodie Foster directed this. She's also in the film as Mel Gibson's wife. He plays a person dealing with depression, and he overcomes it by talking to a beaver. He has a beaver puppet. I love this. The part with Jodie Foster and Mel Gibson at the restaurant just really ripped me apart. This is a very underrated movie that I feel was unfairly ignored after the Mel Gibson scandal early in the decade. After that is X-Men First Class. This is a reboot that I was not looking forward to, but I have to say it surprised me, and it got me back to being a fan of X-Men. I love McAvoy, Fassbender as Xavier Magneto. This revitalized the X-Men franchise, and I have to say this is a reboot slash prequel I did not know I needed. After that is the American remake of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It's a shame that we did not have any sequels to this with Rooney Mara and Daniel Craig. I love Rooney Mara in this. David Fincher's direction. The Immigrant Song cover by Trent Reznor is great. Damn. A heavy film not for the faint of heart. A brutal film, but a well-crafted film at that. After that is Fast 5. The reason why I saw this movie, I was aware of the Fast and Furious films, but this is a time when The Rock and Vin Diesel fought in the same film. That's like seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone fight in their prime. Oh man, I love this movie, but besides that, it switched the whole street car formula to a heist film. Fast 5 was a refreshing mix that really put the franchise in a new direction. After that is The Dark Knight Rises. This is a film I watched the most time in theaters, 8 times. I love this. Great conclusion. Bane. The fire rises. No one cared who I was till I put on the mask. I love this film. That emotional conclusion. Overall, solid ending to a great trilogy. After that is a film that really changed my life, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I actually saw the movie before reading the novel. I didn't know it was based on a novel. I have a crush on Emma Watson, but this film really got to me, introduced me to Ezra Miller and Logan Lerman. I'm telling you, he's one of the greats. He's going to have a career later on in his life like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's going to be in a lot of movies when he's an adult, let me tell you. Like when he's older, like in his 30s. Yeah, I absolutely love this film. It has the charm of a John Hughes film, with the drama of real life, and also it's from a male point of view, which is something we don't get in many high school films. After that is Prometheus. I love this film. It's a good science fiction film. Even though it has dumb scientists in it, I love the visual effects. Charlize Theron, Idris Elba, Noomi Rapace. Man, this film was great, and I love the ending. I had no idea that it was an Alien prequel till the very end. Some stuff seemed familiar. I'm like, this looks a little familiar. And I was like, holy shit, this is an Alien prequel? After that is Rock of Ages. I love the soundtrack here. You have Diego Boneta, Julianne Hough, Tom Cruise. Then you have freaking Alec Baldwin and what's his name? Russell Brand. They're crazy in this movie. Catherine Zeta-Jones, Bryan Cranston. I love it. I love 80s rock metal music, but Rock of Ages is just awesome. Cloud Atlas is another good film. The Wachowski brothers did it, or the Wachowski sisters now. I love it. You know, like, your life, you can be reincarnated in other lifetimes, but choices you make in previous lives can have effects on future lives, and I love seeing that all come to play in the multiple narratives of Cloud Atlas. Great cast with Tom Hanks, Halle Berry. After that is Flight. This is a wonderful Robert Zemeckis film in live action. Denzel Washington. The previews made it seem like he was a guy who drank one beer and he averted a plane crash, and they say he's a drunk. Well, guess what? It's not that. He's suffering from alcoholism. This is a heavy movie and a wonderful performance. If it wasn't for Lincoln in the year of 2012, I think either Denzel Washington or Hugh Jackman for Les Mis would have gotten the Best Actor award. After that is The Great Gatsby. This film depressed me. You know, you have Young and Beautiful by Lana Del Rey, but I love Tobey Maguire's performance in this. Carey Mulligan. Leo DiCaprio, man. He does not have luck with women. It's such a sad ending. Interesting retelling from the novel with a certain stylization, you know, kind of like Moulin Rouge and stuff like that. I like Great Gatsby. It was a solid film. I would have liked it more if it was really like a period piece. That being said, I like the certain rendition. After that is a small film called Seven Psychopaths. I love Sam Rockwell, Colin Farrell, Olga Kurylenko, Woody Harrelson, Christopher Walken. Has a lot of twists with these multiple characters into this one narrative. If you haven't seen Seven Psychopaths, I highly recommend it. It's such a crazy film with many twists and moments of comedy. After that is Dread. This film I did not give a chance because I was tired of the whole 3D craze, but I must say, I wish I did. This is the best R-rated film I've ever seen in my life, along with the first RoboCop from 1987. Dread is an awesome, awesome film, all secluded into this one building. Dredd and his partner must go after this drug dealer named Mama. After that is Les Miserables. Oh, such a sad movie. I cried at the end of this movie, man. I did. Not the whole movie. It was depressing, but the end when he saw Anne Hathaway, I was just like, oh my god, he's dead. Jean Valjean is nothing now. I love that. But Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Anne Hathaway, Amanda Seyfried. This is a great movie and a solid representation of like the Broadway play. It's actually a musical performed live. Director of The King's Speech did this. I love it. This is an epic musical. After that is Silver Linings Playbook. I love this movie with Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro. You messed up the juju! But yeah, I just love this. Everybody's crazy in this movie, and most of all, this is really, I think, Bradley Cooper's breakout role. He was in previous movies, he was in Hangover, but we really got to see a different side of Bradley Cooper in this. And I absolutely love Silver Linings Playbook. After that is Skyfall, triumphant return of Daniel Craig as 007. You have Javier Bardem as Silva, the last film where Judi Dench was M. You have that wonderful song by Adele. I saw this on Thanksgiving. Well, right before Thanksgiving. It was after a final. Beginning of November, it was cold in Texas. I was in Austin, saw it at the Bob Bullock IMAX. Man, I saw it in IMAX twice. This movie is one of the best Bond films and definitely my favorite Daniel Craig Bond film along with Casino Royale. This is just an awesome movie that really honored the character of Bond. It was a great story on the 50th anniversary of the film series. After that is Django Unchained. I love Jamie Foxx killing a whole bunch of slave owners. But you have Christoph Waltz, you have Sam Jackson, who's more evil than Calvin Candy, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. He's like, Master, Master. I love that. And Christoph Waltz is like, did you know that Alexander Dumas was black? Which is cool because, you know, Leo DiCaprio is the man in the Iron Mask. And, you know, Christoph Waltz was a cardinal in the Three Musketeers remake that Alexander Dumas wrote the novels of. So that's kind of cool. Overall, I love this tale of him trying to get his wife back, Broomhilda von Shaft. Shaft's descendants. Anyway, I love it. It's a cool rendition, kind of like remix of the Spaghetti Western Django's with Franco Nero, who does make a cameo. Just an awesome movie. I love Django Unchained. Definitely one of my favorite Jamie Foxx and Tarantino films. After that is Looper. This is cool. There's nothing like your future self trying to kill your past self. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis in this, and it's before Rian Johnson did Last Jedi. I think he's really better at writing his own material, original stories. I love this. And it's really about the story of a mother's love, and without a mother's love, what would somebody become? And that's ultimately kind of the price here. And I love it. This is just an awesome movie that really is about a loop, a time loop. After that is Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. I didn't think I would, but Henry Cavill's in it, Michael Shannon, Hans Zimmer's epic score. This is an epic, epic movie. I love this. This is the perfect representation of a 21st century Superman. After that is The Conjuring. I love this with Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, another James Wan film. Probably the scariest film I've seen since The Exorcist. It's done in that vein. I love this film based on a true story. These two people helping this family. Man, the next two are The Purge and The Purge Anarchy. I love the first Purge with Ethan Hawke. It's more of a home invasion movie, but what I love is that Ethan Hawke's character actually supports the Purge until it happens to him, and it's like a home invasion film. Very small, very limited. And then Purge Anarchy is the film we all wanted in the first one, with it just being out, open world, pure anarchy. I love Purge Anarchy. Both of those are great films. And second one definitely has like an Assault on Precinct 13 vibe from John Carpenter. After that is Her with Joaquin Phoenix. This was a crazy, kind of weird movie. I liked it with like the whole relationship with Siri, you know, it's basically Scarlett Johansson. But what I love about this is really about humans being tied to technology and not having relationships and connection with each other, which, let's face it, has already happened. But this film amplified it in this future, and I love Joaquin Phoenix's acting. I also love that little video game character. After that is Oblivion with Tom Cruise. This film had like 3 or 4 twists that were good enough for one film, but I love it with Morgan Freeman, Olga Kurylenko. This was really good. One of the twists they give away in the trailers, and I wish they didn't. This was a solid science fiction film, purely original, and yeah, definitely one of my favorite Tom Cruise science fiction films. After that is a smaller film called Before Midnight with Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke. I love this. This is very different from the first 2 installments from Richard Linklater, but that hotel fight was amazing, and ultimately, it's a real portrait of love. Or in this case, be careful what you wish for. You know, you think you want this relationship, and these characters have to come to terms with the decisions they made in the previous film. And I love it. This is just a raw, emotional film. And I remember when I saw it, there was all these like senior citizens. I was the only person under 70 in my theater, and they're just looking at me like, what's this young guy doing here? But I got a kick at hearing all the older couples laugh at certain parts of the movie. Yeah. After that is American Hustle. I love American Hustle with Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, Amy Adams. Jennifer Lawrence annoyed me in this, but I love the soundtrack. You know, you have Jeremy Renner. Ultimately, it has the charm that Silver Linings Playbook had from David O. Russell, but it's really like a 70s kind of con artist film, and I love it. Great, great film. And that ending with Bradley Cooper, man. Christian Bale's awesome in this. After that is Prisoners. Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners is one of the most underrated films. I thought Hugh Jackman should have been nominated an Academy Award. Terrence Howard. You have Jake Gyllenhaal. Them capturing, like basically kidnapping their daughters. And Hugh Jackman thinking he's finding the guy who did it, and it turns out he might be an innocent man, and he's like torturing him. So much more to the plot. A great murder, kind of mystery, kidnapping story. I love Prisoners. An intense film. I watched it at 9 p.m. at a theater, and I was just scarred. I got back at 11. I was just like, God, that was a heavy movie. After that is Warm Bodies. Warm Bodies is pretty much a zombie Romeo Juliet. I love this. It's really a story about like what happens to the world when there's no love with each other, you know, no human connection. And it's very deep. Also like John Malkovich as his girlfriend's father, you know, Teresa Palmer, Nicholas Hoult. One of my favorite zombie movies. After that is Interstellar. This film inspired me. I was in a really low point, and this made me believe in movie magic again. Christopher Nolan directed this. I love the visuals, the music. Matthew McConaughey. He basically became a GIF with that one scene where he basically left Earth. And yeah, they really play a lot with the theory of relativity here, but overall, a very emotional movie about fighting for the survival of Earth. After that is John Wick. This is the best action movie of the decade. I love John Wick. That first one was one of those films where I had to watch again. I regret not watching this in theaters. I was working on finals for my final semester in college, and damn, I love this. This is an awesome movie. Great revenge film. After that is Spectre. Spectre is a solid follow-up to Skyfall. Very different. Could have been better, yeah, sure, but it really is a great kind of callback to the 60s Bonds with Spectre, Sean Connery. I really like this film. I wish Christoph Waltz was used more as Blofeld, but I like the twist there. That one part is like, why'd you come here, James? You come to die? And he's like, no, I came to kill you. I love that. It really could have been the last Daniel Craig film, but overall, it was a solid film, I thought. After that is Boyhood. Boyhood is an amazing film where somebody ages 12 years. Man, this is such an awesome movie. Nothing was really done like that before. I love this film by Richard Linklater from beginning to end. It goes by so fast, and this is such an ambitious project that really is about the themes of life growing up. Do we have the answers? No, we're all trying to figure it out. And I love that. After that is Creed. I wasn't sure how a Creed spinoff was going to be, but I have to say Rocky 7/Creed 1 was great. Sylvester Stallone should have won the Best Supporting Actor award. Seriously, him going through cancer, Adonis and Rocky finding reasons to fight to believe in each other is just great. Two different type of fights, but this is just a great movie all around. And Ryan Coogler did an amazing job directing this. I love this movie. This movie is an excellent film. After that is The Revenant. The Revenant's brutal, but it finally won Leo DiCaprio an Academy Award. I love Alejandro Inarritu's films. You know, he also did Birdman. I also love Birdman. But Revenant is a brutal film with Tom Hardy. You know, him fighting for survival and then getting revenge. It's a great revenge movie out in like the wild winter, you know? I love it. But Birdman with Michael Keaton is another great Alejandro Inarritu film, all made to look like it's one shot. And it really is a commentary on the superhero genre, and Michael Keaton as Batman. I love Zach Galifianakis. I love Ed Norton. Emma Stone is brilliant in this movie. And it can be read in multiple ways at the end. Both films from Inarritu are great. After that is About Time. This is a great romantic comedy, but overall it's a time-traveling film. The scene that gets to me is the last scene with his father. I love that. I love the comedy there. This is just a sweet film with dramatic moments. I highly recommend it. Then it's Mad Max Fury Road. This is probably my favorite sequel. You know, you have all these sequels and reboots. This is my favorite. It's a different actor, but George Miller came back, and this feels like the first three movies, but on steroids. Charlize Theron is a badass as Furiosa. I love this movie from beginning to end with Junkie XL's score. This is just an awesome film. The next two films are Mission Impossible Fallout and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Both films are great from Christopher McQuarrie. You know, they continue what was built in Ghost Protocol, but they're more serious like the earlier films. I love it that it also feels more like the television show. I love the whole syndicate. Ilsa Faust, I say, is the best Bond girl that's never been in a Bond film. I love how it ends in Rogue Nation, and Fallout is the fallout of Ethan Hunt's decisions of the whole series, and it continues from Rogue Nation. It's pretty much like Skyfall to Spectre. I love it. Henry Cavill, the villain, Lauren Balfe's score. Man, these two films are the best Mission Impossibles, tour de force, and I cannot wait to see what this director does with 7 and 8. After that is Star Wars Rogue One. This is probably my only favorite film from the Disney films that I feel isn't a rehash entirely. It feels like it does something original. It feels like Star Wars, and these characters were done much better with Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor. I love that Vader scene at the end. Yeah, I love this. This feels like Star Wars, and it actually focuses more on the war element of the Star Wars. After that is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes. These are excellent sequels from the Planet of the Apes series. This trilogy with Caesar really got back to the roots of what made the original film series so special, made us forget about the remakes. I love this for Matt Reeves. Both of them are awesome. I love Dawn a bit more, but I love the human-ape conflict, coexistence, and then I ultimately love what starts the war between them and what ultimately paves the way for the Planet of the Apes. Great story, second and third acts all around. After that is X-Men Days of Future Past. I love this movie. It combines the First Class crew with the original trilogy crew while also kind of negating Last Stand. It retcons it. I love this movie. This is a solid adaptation that's not 100% like the comic, but has a certain essence of it and does something on its own, making one of the best X-Men films made. Another one that broke ground that I think really paved the way for comic book films to be taken more seriously is Logan. I love Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart in this, Daphne Keane as X-23, all the way down to that emotional ending. This is an awesome movie, and this is where the X-Men really ends chronologically. Perfect ending from James Mangold. After that is Deadpool. I love Deadpool. Who knew that would actually happen with Ryan Reynolds? But this is just when the stars align and great things happen with the movie gods. I love Deadpool. Great comedy, great romance story, great revenge film. This is just the perfect Deadpool movie one could ask for. After that is Edge of Tomorrow. Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt. One of the better anime adaptations with Live, Die, Repeat. And Tom Cruise plays against type here. You know, he's a coward before becoming an action hero. I love the premise of this. A purely unique and original film that I think should just stay as a standalone film. This is like a perfect isolated movie. Then we have The Disaster Artist. This is my movie and this is my life. I feel like listening to Rhythm of the Night. I love the story of The Room. Tommy Wiseau, Greg Sestero, but you have James and Dave Franco in this. James Franco directing. This is an excellent film that not only kind of makes fun of that whole process, but really has heart and takes material and story seriously. It doesn't try to demean anybody. It doesn't try to be ugly, make fun of them. It has funny moments, but it really is a very sincere biopic. After that is Avengers Infinity War. This film was a game changer. I love it. Thanos' snap at the end. Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe, but this does put a smile on my face. I love that movie. Yeah. After that is Straight Outta Compton. I love this biopic of NWA. This is an excellent film, my favorite from 2015 along with Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. This is just a great film if you're a fan of rap music, NWA. And if you're not, if you want to know the story about like Dr. Dre, Ice Cube and them, watch this film. This is a well-made film, and all the actors do a fantastic job portraying these men. After that is Baby Driver. I love Baby Driver. It's basically like a Grand Theft Auto movie come to life. The soundtrack, how everything syncs with it. Edgar Wright's direction. Ansel Elgort, Lily James, John Hamm, Asa Gonzalez, and then Jamie Foxx in this with Kevin Spacey. Man, this movie is just cool in like a Tarantino way. After that is Hacksaw Ridge. I love this. Mel Gibson's return to directing. Andrew Garfield's performance. I love that they made the story about a man who did not kill anybody, did not use a gun during war. And he was a medical soldier, so he had to basically save people. Such a great story. A compelling true story brought to the cinema in a well-crafted way, and I'm glad Mel Gibson got to show his directing skills again because it's up there with like Braveheart and Apocalypto and Passion of the Christ. I love Hacksaw Ridge, definitely one of my favorite films from Mel Gibson. After that is Blade Runner 2049, another excellent Denis Villeneuve film, and this is probably my favorite sequel from another old property besides Mad Max. This actually surpasses the original Blade Runner, I think. A story that measures up to the original and may surpass it. Harrison Ford's not in it as much as I hoped he would be as Deckard, but I love Ryan Gosling's in this. They still keep that film noir element, but they make it with practical effects. You have Ana de Armas in this, Mackenzie Davis. Man, I love this film. Jared Leto as the villain. This movie is just a really well-done science fiction film. That opening scene with Dave Bautista is insane. And ultimately, it's about themes of like what defines humanity, what defines human, What is a human being? What is humanity? And that's something that really delves deep into the core of Blade Runner, I feel, both films. After that is Nightcrawler. It's criminal that Jake Gyllenhaal did not get nominated or win an Academy Award for this. He plays such a creepy guy, just like filming this murder, filming these crimes, but then going out looking for stuff and causing things just for the sensationalism of the news. I love this film. It has style, and Rene Russo and Bill Paxton have great performances in this. Definitely one of my favorite Jake Gyllenhaal roles in movies. It's a messed up movie, but you're just going to be left blown away at the end of it. After that is Ex Machina. This film is an awesome film. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I loved it. Alicia Vikander as his robot, the twists and turns. This is a slow burn of a film, but it's very well shot with some crazy, surprising moments. Overall, this is another science fiction film that's just amazing from this decade. After that is Bad Times at the El Royale. This is a very underrated film. You have Jeff Bridges, Cynthia Erivo, Dakota Johnson, John Hamm, Chris Hemsworth. Man, he's evil in this. I love it. Deep Purple, I think, with Hush. I love this. This is a great film with twists and turns, multiple stories all connecting into this hotel of the El Royale. Such an awesome movie that deserves more attention and love. After that is the adaptation of Ready Player One by Steven Spielberg. I love this. Does it have as many pop culture references as a book? No, but it still has a lot of these movies put into this virtual world. And I love it. Only Steven Spielberg could make a movie that's like enjoyable. Who knew that a guy his age could make a film more enjoyable than some 20-year-olds? But I love it. I love the story of this. Despite the changes from the novel, it's a very enjoyable film that pretty much is very relevant for our current time with the internet, social media, virtual reality. I love it. It's a cool movie. If you're a film fan, a video game fan of anything pop culture, this movie's for you. After that is This Is the End. I love This Is the End. This is such an amazing comedy. Michael Cera in that one part, but you have Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, James Franco. Man, I love this. I think Hermione just stole her shit. And then who could forget the Backstreet Boys cameo at the end with everybody? This is such a cool movie, but it's also a deeper film when you realize it's the end of the world. After that is Snow White and the Huntsman. I really like this rendition of Snow White. It's not done by Disney. You have Kristen Stewart, Chris Hemsworth, Charlize Theron as the evil queen. This is a cool, kind of different rendition of the Snow White tale. They pretty much make it like the Russell Crowe Robin Hood, pretty much. But I love it. And then you have Florence and the Machine's Breath of Life on the soundtrack. One of my favorite songs. Man, this movie is an awesome kind of like epic action fantasy retelling of Snow White. After that is Alita Battle Angel. I love Alita Battle Angel. You know, you have Rosa Salazar, Christoph Waltz, Mahershala Ali, Jennifer Connelly, Jackie Earle Haley, and it's probably one of the best anime adaptations. This is an enjoyable film that shows us a female hero who's badass, but also very caring. After that is Wonder Woman. I love Wonder Woman. You know, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman film, Chris Pine's performance. Such a great film with like a female hero that I enjoy as well. Finally, my last favorite film of the decade is Joker. Joker is in the vein of Taxi Driver, King of Comedy. Joaquin Phoenix gives a great performance, twists and turns, but ultimately a great origin tale for the Clown Prince of Crime himself in a very modern and grounded way. I love this. From the opening of the 80s Warner Brothers logo to the very ending of you questioning whether it was all real or not. It's just a great film. That's a list of my favorite films from the decade. Feel free to share yours down in the comments below. Yeah, this decade's been very interesting. There's been many highs, many lows, many heartbreaks, many surprises. And I must say, through each and every moment, films have always got me through all those good and bad times throughout this decade. And I don't know where I would be without the world of cinema, without the world of film. So, yeah. I just want to reflect on the films that got me through everything this decade. And I look forward to the next decade. I hope you all out there have a wonderful start of the decade with 2020. Thank you all for all these years watching my channel. Goodbye.